What's going on YouTube, Ferocity? I hope you guys are doing well. XDefiant just dropped a massive update to fix some of the problems in their game, but also address some of the other concerns around balancing with both factions and weapons. This is a big update, and I want to highlight a few portions of the patch notes, but if you want to read them for yourself, link to them will be down below in the description. So let's jump right into the first issue that they fixed that's related to the factions. Fix an issue where DedSec spiderbots were ignoring victims previously targeted by the deploying player. Now they'll spiderhug faces new and old with equal enthusiasm. Players can once again shoot DedSec spiderbots off their own face. Not sure why, everybody loves spiderbots. So, the first major change here comes with the DedSec spiderbot, with two bug fixes, one of them being the targeting of the spiderbot and the other one being a counter. Both of these changes are a net positive. Now, I think that we can agree that since the launch of Season 1, the spiderbot has been more than a nuisance. It's been a detriment to the game. But now with the counter coming back in, I think it's going to settle that a little bit, and it's going to move the needle back to nuisance. I do believe that spiderbot needs an overhaul from beginning to end, but at least now there is a known counter, and if you don't know what it is, just point your face downward and shoot, and the spiderbot will be destroyed. So hopefully it leads to a little bit less frustration and just a little bit more of a nuisance like it was before. Moving away from the spiderbot, though, to another faction that gets a lot of hate, the Echelon. XDefiant tuned the functionality of the Echelon intel suit. Now it pulses every 4 seconds instead of every 3 seconds. Enemies remain highlighted for 1 second instead of 2.7 seconds. So everybody pay attention. What I love about this change is, no, it doesn't do what I think the majority of the community wanted, which is only allow the Echelon suit to work for the player deploying it. But it does make some significant changes with how it highlights and pings players. Dropping the highlighted player from 2.7 seconds to 1 second is going to be dramatic. I haven't personally played it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be noticeable from the get-go. And the pulses changing from 3 seconds to 4 seconds, that's going to be a noticeable change as well. Both of these changes, hopefully, are a little bit better for the game overall. I still feel, as I know many do, that the ability should only apply to the player deploying it, not to the whole team. But at least now, it seems that they've tried to balance it in a way where it's not as overpowered as it was before. I'm very curious to see how this one plays. Now, one of the major complaints, one of the major criticisms from the launch of Season 1 was the fact that abilities stopped working. Well, they fixed that. Some abilities such as Firebomb, the Digital Ghillie Suit, and BioVita Boost weren't always activating or occasionally stopped working. That's fixed. Simple as that. One of the biggest issues, now rectified. You love to see it. Now, from a game mode perspective, I know this was something that was brought up on the Reddit. The playlist screen now shows all available game modes instead of you having to scroll across to find Team Deathmatch. Nice change. Now let's move into weapon balancing that they did with this update. They addressed two of the weaker ARs and gave them a little bit of boost in damage. Both the M4A1 and the MDR had their short range damage increased. The M4A1 from 17 to 18 and the MDR 17 to 19. While these changes might feel like a minuscule amount of difference, they might have major impacts to your gunfights. This change is going to affect the majority of gunfights you're involved in. So they could have an impact on whether or not you stay alive or you put a little bit more damage in. It matters at the end of the day, and I really like this change. Then the MP5 also got a bit of a buff. First, its medium range damage was increased from 13 to 14. Its headshot damage multiplier was increased from 1.35 to 1.4x. And the short range was increased from 16 meters to 18 meters. The medium range was increased from 25 meters to 27 meters. So that's not damage, that's when the damage drop off happens. So short range is now from 0 meters to 18 meters. Medium range is 18 meters to 27 meters. This is a significant change. This will hopefully bring the MP5 on par with some of the other SMGs in the game. They also improved the ADS speed for the MDR from 300 milliseconds to 250 milliseconds. So that's nice to see, a little bit quicker for the MDR to go down sight. They've also adjusted all the sprint out times for the snipers. So the M44 was increased from 350 milliseconds to 400 milliseconds. The TAC-50 sprint out time was increased from 600 milliseconds to 625 milliseconds. And the L115 was also increased from 550 milliseconds to 575 milliseconds. The sniper rifles also got a small increase in spread when shooting from the hip. So, all in all, they've been trying to balance the snipers from the get-go, trying to add flinch. Now they're adjusting sprint in and out times, and looks like they're also changing some stuff with the hip fire. All of this in hopes of the game being a bit more healthy to all types of playstyles. And the last note here for weapons, they fixed a glitch that allowed players to fire automatically upon respawning if they jammed on the fire and sprint buttons while dying. Something I think the majority of us have done at some point in time. So that's everything I wanted to touch on from today's update. If you want to see those full patch notes, again, the link to it will be down below in the description. But where do we go from here? I think many people are going to be underwhelmed by the fact that very little netcode or hit detection changes were discussed, as well as no changes to ranked play, both of which are at the top of the mind for the player. So let's talk first and foremost about ranked. What is the main gripe right now? Well, that most matches are starting with unbalanced teams. There's not 4 players on each team when the game starts. A lot of games from the get-go are starting 3v4 or 4v3. Nobody wants to be a part of that. That's not fun, and that needs to be addressed immediately. Now, when it comes to netcode, however, I feel they're constantly working on the netcode behind the scenes. So they might not specifically come out and say, hey guys, we did this week. But trust me, they're working on stuff behind the scenes. It's something that Mark Rubin has alluded to many times. So even though it's not specifically said in this patch, they are working on stability within their servers as well with their hit detection. I'm very curious to see how this whole patch plays, and hopefully the update has propelled this game in a more positive direction. But this is when I turn it over to you and ask you the question. Is XDefiant better today than it was yesterday, or does this update not really change much for you and the game is going to still feel a little stagnant? Would love to hear your thoughts down below in that comment section. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.